UN Habitat has been saying and documenting with serious evidence that urbanization is a transformative force.
We approach urbanization usually from the problems side of urbanization. Like in Nakuru, the congestion or the lack of affordable housing. In another, we are always looking at urbanization for what is lacking, what is the problems of urbanization. But we have not tended to look at urbanization of what it delivers.
Revolution has brought an opportunity for each county government to focus at the county level to make sure that towns are planned.
We realize urbanization is an unstoppable phenomenon. We realize the GDP of our county, a huge proportion, it is now estimated about 55% of the GDP Quito is produced either within the main towns or within the market centers. And these market centers are in every ward.
This executive course seeks to strengthen our governance capacity to handle challenges and opportunities presented by urbanization in Kenya, intensify dialogue between the counties and national government on urbanization, and generate more collective discussion on ways to best harness the opportunities arising from the urbanization in Kenya.
Africa is the fastest growing economy in the whole world. It's the only place where you have an average growth in the region of 5-6, and in some countries even 10%.
In the history of humanity, there is no country in the world that has developed, that has brought some level of prosperity and sustainability without urbanizing.
We have quite a number of challenges because of our proximity to Nairobi, and so we have a huge spillover in terms of population from Nairobi and its environs to our county. We have many young people who are coming and they need jobs. We have many traders who need space, but we inherited a system that had cleared all the spaces.
The towns that sit on the borders between counties, and a very good example is Mtito and Dei, which sits bang on the border between Makueni and Taita Taveta counties. And therefore, you can actually see that there's a lot of synergy that can be created if, in terms of urban planning, that is done jointly. Because in some cases, it's actually very, very difficult to separate the infrastructure.
Most of these urban centers, we inherited them just recently, actually hardly 3 years ago. So we found that there was no planning. And to plan them right now is very, very expensive.
It is difficult to conduct urban planning when you're planning without having surveyors. And survey is a concurrent function, but most of survey duties belong to county governments. But up to now, the function has not been officially transferred to county governments.
I am here only to recommend to you the Sustainable Development Goals. They will provide for you a framework that can transform your economies and your counties, your societies and your environment. Whether you choose to believe it now is up to you. Or if you choose to believe it later because you've seen other countries succeed and other counties succeed, that is fine.
For Kenya to become a middle-income country and remain one, it must adopt a pro-urban development strategy that unleashes the huge economic and social potential and benefits of cities and towns.
To maximize on revenue collection, you must also make sure that the cost of collection versus the revenue itself, it must be cost effective.
We are now doing spatial planning for urban centers so that we can be able to control, because what happened in the past is that because most of the outside the immediate premise of the town, we had freehold titles, people could develop anything.
We have started planning our urban centers, and we just didn't start with the urban centers because we are being guided by the law. We started by preparing the county's spatial plan, which is now the one which we are unbundling so that we can be able to do our integrated strategic urban development plans.
I think every county, what they have done it gradually. For ourselves, we have begun with the key urban areas. We've begun with the 7 urban areas to do spatial planning. And then gradually, with the resources allowing, be able to expand it into other areas.
In our county, which is Murang'a County, there are a number of opportunities. One of the opportunities is actually the location in terms of being in the metro region. We are strategically located. Now the demands of Nairobi actually are an opportunity to us in terms of the agricultural produce. We actually the food basket of Nairobi.
All urban development must be approached through an integrated process. When you integrate, therefore, then you are able to harness your resources application, because it means that your resources application will be more applied in such a way that you are addressing a common thing, rather than each sector addressing their own thing.
We are trying to convert the challenges that we have into opportunities. For example, we have a big infrastructure, influx of people to urban areas. These are particularly the young generations who have come to look for employment, those who have come to as entrepreneurs. And we are seeing this as a very good opportunity.
The best way to combat poverty in both urban and rural areas is through urbanization. Urbanization is a force that changes everything, but changes, if it's well planned, changes for the good. Urbanization brings economies of agglomeration, which mean people living together, generating jobs, generating opportunities, generating densities. And if it's well managed and well organized, it's a very positive trend in development.
The country and the county, as envisaged, is gradually becoming urbanized. With devolution, I can assure you that the towns are springing up in terms of even buildings, more buildings are coming up. And so as a county, we are thinking of that we must move very fast.
The rapid urbanization that is taking place, and you can consider yourself potentially the 47 counties as potentially large cities coming up in terms of Kenya. This is the one which is going to shift the graph of urbanization from human settlement, from the rural to urban centers.
The world has come to realize that we are all in this together, that it is simply impossible for one part of the world to develop at the expense of or despite the development of another part of the world, and that the success of development in one part of the world must be buttressed, sustained, reflected, and complementary to development in another part of the world.